Have you ever seen a woodpecker perched up on a utility pole? Or a curious hummingbird visiting bright flowers near your home or school? As it turns out, birds live very interesting lives and are important to our own health and tell us a lot about the seasons and the environment. At MEarth, we like to ask the question, what do birds need to survive? The answer? Just like the rest of us, they need food, water, shelter, and community. They need to eat, stay hydrated and clean, keep themselves and their young safe, and connect with each other and other species for survival. Every species of bird has its own unique needs and set of traits that define its role, or niche, in its local ecosystem. From the type of food it eats, to how and where it finds or builds a home, to its relationships with other species of plants, animals, and insects, birds can teach us a lot about the health of our natural environment. Today, we're going to get to know 4 species of birds that are commonly seen not only on the protected habitat at MEarth, but also around the communities and parks of Monterey County. Say hello to the red-tailed hawk, the California scrub jay, the chestnut-backed chickadee, and Anna's hummingbird. But before we talk more about these feathered friends of ours, let's go back to the beginning of this story. MEarth is located on the Hilton Bialik habitat in Carmel Valley, California. This 10-acre property contains many different habitats, including a 1-acre organic garden, riparian woodland, coastal sage scrub, grassland, and oak woodland. This property wasn't always like this, though. In the late 1990s, the Carmel Unified School District saw the potential of an abandoned Christmas tree farm next to school property and gained approval for the Habitat Project, which would restore the land to a place full of local flora and fauna. The school district was bold enough to say, "Plant them and they will come," and they really did. 20 years later, tree groves and shrubs are thriving at MEarth, which means birds have somewhere to live, move, eat, and nest. Thanks to a group of community members who have been recording data in the eBird database, we know that the current count for our location is 117 migratory and non-migratory species of birds. So what was it about the restoration process that ended up attracting so many species of birds? By restoring the habitat with native plant and tree species, many different species of birds were now attracted to the food, water, shelter, and community that these plants and trees provided. In turn, the bird species also helped these plants and trees reproduce by eating their fruit and scattering their seeds. They also kept pest populations, like insects and rodents, under control. Over time, it became a home for more mammals, reptiles, amphibians, and insects, creating a well-supported, thriving food web. By working in harmony with the local ecosystem, we can now watch in awe as the sun's energy flows through the garden, fields, and woodlands to feed the resident wildlife, and even us. The web of life continues across intricate relationships between prey and predator until eventually death and decomposition will enrich the soil to nourish new beginnings. We know a habitat is healthy when it's busy and birds are chirping. Birds are key indicators of environmental health because they're sensitive to habitat change, and for ecologists, they are easy to keep track of. Ecologists measure ecosystem health based on diversity. A more species-rich place is healthier. Diversity in ecosystems is important because it allows every organism to successfully survive from generation to generation. So let's go back to our feathered friends. The red-tailed hawk is a raptor, or bird of prey, meaning it relies on smaller birds, reptiles, and mammals as its source of food. It prefers to nest in tall trees, distanced from areas overly developed by humans, with easy access to the variety of prey it depends on for its survival. What do you think would happen if our red-tailed hawks disappeared? Our local populations of mice, rats, and rabbits would get too large and could overrun the habitat, eating too much vegetation. Birds of prey are incredibly important to maintaining the balance in the web of life. Have you heard this call before? The California scrub jay, with their assertive, bold personalities, can be found in many backyards and local parks across Monterey County. With their small Swiss Army knife-like beaks, these omnivores eat insects and fruit in the spring and summer and switch to nuts in the fall and winter. Their favorite food is acorns and the larvae that live inside them, holding it between their feet to peck it with their beaks. California scrub jays scope out hiding places for acorns and store them for the future, sometimes even stealing other birds' storage. The acorns that are forgotten can grow up to be full-grown oak trees. Who knows how many of our local oak trees have been planted by these crafty birds? The chestnut-backed chickadee is an omnivore as well, eating a variety of insects including caterpillars, moths, beetles, small wasps, and spiders, in addition to berries and conifer seeds. These chickadees have shown a direct positive impact on the health of coniferous forests by eating and distributing seeds while also feeding on insects that would otherwise damage the trees. Chickadees build their nests in cavities or holes that they find in trees, using animal fur to build their nests, along with moss, feathers, and bark fibers. The Anna's hummingbird can usually be spotted year-round in the gardens, chaparral, and forests of the West Coast. They're also omnivores, eating both tiny insects and nectar. These vocal little birds play an important role in the pollination of local flowering plant species as they spend their days buzzing from flower to flower, gathering enough nectar to feed themselves and their young. Each of these species contribute in some way to the health and balance of other species in the surrounding habitat. If one of these species were to disappear from an ecosystem, it would have a domino effect through the habitat's relationship web, impacting the overall health of the local environment. Habitat destruction, invasive species, population, pollution, and overharvesting, or HIPPO, are all factors that disrupt the abilities of our native bird species to find the food, clean water, and shelter that they require. These are all examples of the negative impact that humans can have on local ecosystems. However, we can also have positive effects. At MEarth, we were able to transform an empty lot to a flourishing biodiverse ecosystem. You too can do your part to support native bird species and in turn, your local ecosystem. Whether you live in a city, a suburb, or in the country, there is always something you can do to support the birds around you. Remember to ask yourself, what do birds need to survive? Food, water, shelter, and community. The next time you're watching for birds where you live, work, or play, you can use Cornell University's mobile app, Merlin, or their website, eBird, to identify the species you have spotted. There, you can research the unique traits, needs, and behaviors of the species, as well as its niche in the local ecosystem. You can use both to share your findings with your community. Consider providing your own bird environment with a bird box, feeder, clean bird bath, shrub, or flowers that support local native birds. All local ecosystems benefit from the basics of environmental stewardship: no littering, save water, and reduce, reuse, recycle. Remember that no matter where you are, you're living within the web of life, and everything you do will impact your environment, either positively or negatively in some way. Birds are more than happy to do their part to keep their ecosystem thriving. Humans must do our part as well.
Send us your questions and comments below. If you enjoyed this video, share it on Facebook and Instagram or email it to a friend. Share your findings with your virtual community and tag us at MEarth Carmel with the hashtag #GrowCookExplore. See you in the next video.